All right, let's talk about something that's, well, kind of the bedrock of our entire financial system. What really stops a company's big, flashy financial report from being pure fiction? It all comes down to one thing: evidence. And today, we're going to uncover the secrets of what we call audit evidence.
Now, seriously, think about it. You see a company report these, massive billion-dollar profits. What's actually stopping them from just making those numbers up, pulling them out of thin air? Well, the answer is this really fascinating process of verification.
And the best way to get your head around this is to think of an auditor as a kind of financial detective. Yeah, a detective. Their job isn't just to, check the math. Nope. Is to conduct a full-blown investigation, hunting for clues to prove that a company's financial story is fact and not some work of fiction.
So all these clues they're looking for, they have an official name, of course: audit evidence. And look, this isn't just one piece of paper. It is everything. Every document, every interview, every observation the auditor uses to build their case. It's the absolute foundation that their final judgment rests on.
But just like in any good detective story, not every clue is a smoking gun, right? Some are more valuable than others. To be considered really solid and reliable, the evidence has to meet these two super critical standards. This is what separates actual fact from, well, just hearsay.
Okay, so those two standards are: it has to be sufficient and appropriate. Sufficient is pretty easy. It's all about quantity. Has our detective collected enough clues? But appropriate, that's about quality. Are these clues even trustworthy? Here's a great way to think about it. A dozen internal company memos all celebrating a huge sale, that's a lot of evidence, sure, but it's nowhere near as good as high quality as a single bank statement from an independent bank that confirms the cash actually landed in the account. See, you need both: enough evidence and the right kind of evidence.
Okay, so if our financial detective needs to find all these high-quality clues, where do they even start looking? I mean, what does this investigation actually look like in the real world?
Well, they've got a whole toolbox of methods. They'll run what are called audit procedures, like testing a bunch of transactions to make sure they were all recorded right. They'll sit down and interview staff to really get a feel for how things work on the inside. They even do physical sightings of assets. And yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. They will literally go to a warehouse to count the boxes a company claims it has. And of course, they pore over absolute mountains of documents.
And all of this work, it's not random at all. It builds into this really clear three-step process. First, they plan out their procedures, figuring out where the biggest risks are. Then they gather all that information, using all those methods we just talked about. And finally, and this is the most important part, they analyze everything they found. They're constantly asking themselves that key question: is this enough evidence, and is it the right kind of evidence?
So all this planning, this gathering, this analyzing, it's not just busy work, Every single step, every document they look at, every question they ask, it's all building towards one single, absolutely crucial goal.
And this is it. This is the end game. The entire purpose of all this detective work is to form what's called a professional audit opinion. After weighing every single piece of evidence, the auditor has to make the final call. Do these financial statements give a true and fair picture of the company's financial health? Yes or no?
And believe me, that opinion is everything. It's either the big seal of approval that gives investors, banks, and all of us confidence, or it's the massive red flag that basically warns everyone to stay away. And the strength of that opinion, whether it's good or bad, rests entirely on the quality and quantity of the evidence they found to back it up.
Which of course leaves us with one last really critical question. What happens when the detective's trail of clues just runs cold? What if an auditor simply can't find enough good, reliable evidence to make a judgment one way or the other? Well, the consequences of that are huge, and it just goes to show how incredibly vital this whole idea of audit evidence really is.